confirmed.
So much news this week out of Massachusetts. The stunning victory of Scott Brown, the Republican, in that special election. And the obvious question that came out of that is, what's next for health care reform? The president was out in Ohio on Friday. He was talking about health care, talking about jobs, but he said he's going to keep fighting for health care. So what specifically will he fight for?
He's going to fight for what he's always been fighting for, David. Look, the fact of the matter is, you're right, it was a stunning victory, but the people in Massachusetts already have health care reform. In fact, Senator Brown voted for the health care reform that Massachusetts has. He said he wouldn't vote to repeal it, and in fact, we're very confident that it's similar to the bills that are currently being debated.
So he'll fight for everything?
Here. He's going to, of course, he's going to fight for the American people. David, listen, nothing changed about the fact that costs are escalating too high, that out-of-pocket expenses for health care are growing, that premiums have doubled over the last 10 years. The people who do not have insurance need insurance. The people who do have insurance are losing it because of pre-existing conditions. That the deficit is looming out of control in large part because of health care, and that small businesses are having to choose between laying off people and paying for health care.
I understand the arguments for health care.
None of that changed as a result of that election.
But what specifically in the bill will he continue to fight for? Does everything have to be in there in order for it to be considered reform by this president?
What he's doing and what happened over the course of the weekend is there have been a series of phone calls and conversations to try to see what the climate is, what's the art of the possible. But what the president is always going to do is try to push hard for the American people. He's not going to give up on that because of one election in Massachusetts. He's going to continue to work hard. We don't know what's going to happen, but what we do know is that we have a president committed to delivering for the American people.
He'll fight for the package as is.
He's going to fight for trying to get absolutely as much as he can to reduce the cost of health care, to provide insurance, provide a security and safety for those folks who have insurance now. All of the core principles that he set forth at the very beginning of the process, core principles, I might add, that were included in both the bill that was passed by the Senate and the bill that was passed by the House. So we'll see where we go, David.
Republicans have said he has not been bipartisan in this process. Is he now prepared to sit down with Republican leaders to figure out what precisely could be passed?
David, he has been prepared since day one. In fact, he has sat down with the leadership and members on the Republican Party in both the House and the Senate. And in fact, bills in both the House and the Senate contain provisions that were suggested by the Republican Party. So nothing's changed about the president's approach. I think the question to be asked, and what we learned from the Massachusetts victory, is that people are sick and tired of Washington not delivering for them. And so the question is really, will the Republican Party be willing to come and work with us? A silver lining is Senator Brown said yes, he's looking forward to coming to Washington and working with the Democrats, and we're hoping that that provides new leadership within the party.
You raise Massachusetts and you raise this question of priorities. This is what our recent polling found in terms of what are the priorities of the American people. And on top of that list is not health care. In fact, it's job creation. That was first on the list at 38%. There's health care at 12%, fourth on the list. Why keep pushing for health care in the middle of a recession when the American people don't seem to put that at the top of the list?
Well, you're assuming it's a choice between either or. The president, from the day he was elected, has made job creation and the economy a first priority. Let's just remember where we were a year ago, David. We were losing 700,000 jobs a month. We were in the middle of the worst economic meltdown in our nation's history. Our financial system was on the brink of collapse. We had the largest federal deficit in our nation's history. And what's happened over the last 12 months? We're no longer losing 700,000 jobs a month. We've cut that number to less than 10%. We've turned the economy around. We are moving forward in the right direction.
You can't say, I'm sorry, you can't say you've turned the economy around when there are 4 million jobs have been lost on the president's watch, when the debt is higher and the stimulus did not produce the jobs that the administration said it would.
Well, I actually disagree with everything you just said. Let's take a look. We have pulled it back from the brink of disaster. That was our first and primary goal. The president took some bold steps that were not necessarily popular, but that did stabilize the financial system. This is a long haul, David, and we are not satisfied. Having any American who wants to work unemployed is something that the president takes to heart each and every day. This isn't something that's going to be repaired in 1 year. We're going to have to push forward, but that doesn't mean that we give up, and that doesn't mean that jobs haven't been a top priority from day one.
You talk about the economy. What specifically is the president prepared to do this year to create jobs?
Well, as you mentioned, he's going to be giving his State of the Union address this week on Wednesday, and he'll have an opportunity that he's looking forward to speak directly to the American people, something you know that he always enjoys doing, and he'll be able to set forth his priorities, and they will be focusing on the middle class. Our middle class is struggling out there. They're frustrated, they're angry, they're working hard to try to make ends meet. They're having to make terrible choices between paying their rent and putting food on the table and paying for their health care and sending their kids to college. These are the same principles that the president advocated in the course of the campaign. They're the same principles that he's carried with him throughout the course of this year. And we've taken several bold steps over the course of the year. The Recovery Act saved thousands and thousands of jobs. There are school teachers and firemen and teachers all across our country, policemen who have jobs today because of that Recovery Act. We are investing in infrastructure. We're investing in public education so that our kids can compete going forth into the next generation. We're investing in renewable energy to reduce our dependence on foreign oil. These are all connected to the economy, and what we have to keep in mind, David, is that we need to have a sustainable, healthy, long-term economy, not a quick fix, but a long-term sustainable